All right, family. All right. What's going on out there, family? Right? The latest from your boy. We've been on TikTok. This is for Spotify and our YouTube followers, our Apple followers, right? Pandora, so on and so forth. I know I may run into trouble on TikTok with this one today, family. So we decided to come back to the origins, to the OG, create this one special for our Spotify listeners, family, right? And for those who listen again on Apple, Pandora, and of course YouTube, right? So let's do it since we ain't done it in a while. Welcome in us who are a different view family. We see y'all. We see the views out there, family. Thank you for your support. Again, we know we haven't been on the platform here on Spotify for a minute. That's because your boy has been trying to push the word, get the good news out, as they say, right? To the different people groups here over on the land of TikTok, which we have run into some interesting things with TikTok. We'll see how they go. And unfortunately, we need to stop blocking so many people, family. I know that was one of the things that I was going to bring up, and I think I might do it. I might save it for the TikTok episode that we do here. Because I'm just bringing this up real quick because it's a separate conversation that's coming up here on the 13th, family, that we're going to have a conversation on if there's going to be levels, right, of balance here and levels of help here. For people, because we family, the man play a game of what you got going on. So again, let's just bring it in, right? Welcome in, family, us who are a different view family. Again, we said we wanted to get away from the views, right? Again, we just this is a podcast, we're just gonna go on with it, right? A different view family here who believe in, who love after, who hunger, thirst, seek, and search for that which is a different view, family. Welcome in, right? So, what do we, to quote the great Cody Rhodes, which I don't know if he's done that in a while. I know, he just had the birth of his second child there with Brandy Rhodes. So, we congratulate that man. Again, we're talking black love, right? We're talking love in general, right? So that's an awesome thing to see. Okay. Many things just on the lines of sports, just to put this in here with this conversation, because it's going to get kind of serious, right? So we're just going to put the light and airy stuff at the beginning and give you the meat and potatoes of it on the back end. We've seen what as far as wrestling is concerned, little blasé, right? That's on both sides, AEW, WWE. Unfortunately, the acquisition of TNA is getting watered down. Triple A, again, shout out to our Hispanic, Mexican, I should say, brothers and sisters, man. Shout out to y'all. We've seen, a whole lot of awesome, cool stuff going on, right? But we know, this thing is to highlight WWE by way of our Mexican brothers and sisters. Shout out to Luchador one time, right? But we already know, again, how mass to get down. Oh boy, biggity boy. Family, we want to bring up this word here. Well, let's tie this off. We'll see how the Yankees do. I'm not putting any too much faith in it because, again, these teams are set up for high dollars during the season. A little bit of the postseason, no World Series wins. This is how it is, right? Same thing with the Dallas Cowboys. Again, we're not expecting anything out of the Chicago Bulls. Listen, we're just gonna keep it 100, family. That's why if you got something else to do in the fall today than just be sitting there watching sports for 2-3 hours a day, making somebody else rich, I don't know what to tell y'all, right? Find the hobby, go with it. Right, let's encourage each other. That's what a lot of this episode is going to be talking about today, is encouragement to each other. Off of two different serious things that have happened in life, probably within Maybe like a week or two of each other, right? So it hadn't been a long time. First one we're going to talk about is culture, family. Because there are some in our own community, we're talking black folks, right? They seem to have a problem with the word culture means, okay? So, customs, arts, social, and this is off of Oxford's dictionary. Customs, arts, I'm feeling good today, y'all. I'm feeling good. We're talking about letting the light of truth shine through this thing, man. That's what we on. Social institutions and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group. That's what culture means. Now, that's the definition. Let's look at etymology for a moment. We taking it back old school. What started this podcast the way it is. You better know, family. And when I tell you better know, damn it, you better know that you know that you know you know. Because the idea is deception today, y'all, to get you off the path of what's going on in this life, right? So, let's get into culture's etymology, okay? As a noun from the 15th century, the middle 15th century, right? So we know the centuries as humans have divided time. We're talking about 01 starts the first one, all the way to the 00 of whatever number they're talking about. So when you're talking 15th century, right, let's just, real time here. Just type in your phone if you don't know. Hey, listen, this idea of not knowing is easily remedied, family. Don't let those who sit in the seat of the scornful get you going. 1401 to 1500. That's the 15th century. Whatever they're talking about, the 14th century would be 1301 to 1400. It ends on whatever number that they're describing. 16th century would be 1501 to 1600. The 21st one is what we live in, right? It's 2001 to 2100. So, the middle of the 15th century, it said as follows what culture means. The tilling of the land. The act of preparing the earth for crops. Like a garden, y'all. Which is why we say, what's in your garden? There are some of us in the camp, though. Some of us black brothers and so-called black brothers and sisters, primarily African, who believe otherwise. Here we go.
Groups, they have no culture. It depends on who you meet, where you meet them.
But currently there's not an African American culture?
No.
Yes, there is.
What is it? Name two value systems in the African American culture.
Value system?
Yes. Name two taboos in the African American culture system. Name two traditions, by the way, in the African American culture system. There is no value for freedom if you don't understand what it is. The concept of free. You have to have a foundation on which it would balance when you ask for it. Civil rights, they give it to you. You have no culture. Nancy, you've been here, born here. Why would you be surprised if I say African Americans don't have a culture? What, twerking? So anything
but I feel like African American culture has definitely
you say
mainstream.
No, you say the word, the African American culture. What is it? Okay, fine.
Like hip hop.
Oh,
not
Jesus
hip hop.
Christ.
I mean, I don't want to. Yes, I feel like
you haven't thought about it. It's fine. Don't make things up.
I'm not making it up.
Okay,
I feel like
then educate me. You feel. You should know. You were born and raised here.
Yes, but I have a.
Are you African American?
I'm Haitian American.
That's correct. Do you see why you were being specific with that? Because anybody who encounters you already knows you before, if they know you are Haitian. At least two things comes to their mind.
What is that?
If they've been to Haiti, they can look at work ethics and they say, yes, Haitians, I know them. Service industry, they know where they do well. Food, they can say yes. And even language, Creole.
Right.
And they can say, oh, I love Haitians. Because they saw the culture in abstract before they encountered you. So people go over the bridge of your culture, your tradition, your customs, and that helps them to know how to
address it.
Exactly. I'm saying to you, any people who ask for these things, which are abstract, freedom, for example, independence, for example, and civil right, for example, voting right, for example, you must have a foundation on which these things are going to balance. Because the people there have to uniformly agree with consensus. This is our way of life. The do's and the don'ts involved in our culture. Even if you have to create an artificial culture.
Is that why the civil rights movement is considered dead?
It's dead and useless. They got it, but they could not balance it on any foundation.
All right, and we're back. Family, what'd you think of that one? What y'all leave it in the comments, right? Let's use the comments here for empowering each other, not for tearing each other down, right? I would love to hear what y'all's comments are, for real, right? We're gonna start off the response here to this dude's ill-advised thought process on this by this statement first. Celebrities are people too. Family, we have to understand, right? These leaders and these folks that have something to say, that are part of organizations, they're people too. Past our, this is what I put here, not past. Part of our miseducation is a mass misunderstanding of holding each other and ourselves accountable. Let's say it again. God help me to say it today. Celebrities are people too. No. I know we go off on the money they made and whatever organization they are part of. And we go off on a whole lot, family, that is superficial. And this brother want to talk about the foundation of things and the balance of things. How dare you deal in such deceptive stuff? Either you were doing it purposefully, or as Stephen said while his brothers and sisters were stoning him in the street, Lord, forgive them because they do not know what they're doing. Right? The heart of a thing is missing, family. This was the last time we left off on this podcast and ain't nothing changed. Like we say, and a damn thing changed, but date on the calendar. You share this, like this, send this one out, family, right? The miseducation of people. Part of our miseducation is a mass not like three people. A mass misunderstanding of holding each other and ourselves accountable. When the brother comes off and asks, see, forsake not is what the Bible tells you. I know Christians use this talking about going to church, right? And we're going to get into a back half of the conversation here. I know we're about 13 minutes in on the back half of the conversation. When we get there, we're going to sit here and talk about a different type of celebrity, if you will. And some tragic stuff that has happened that, again, as we say, part of our miseducation is a mass misunderstanding of holding each other and ourselves accountable. It's ironic that the two instances we're going to use here today both deal in black and white. Ain't that interesting, right? Again, if you want to find the source to the issue, when they say separation is part of your salvation, family, they're not lying. When the serpent struck at the heel of the woman, as it is said in Genesis, there had to be a separation between the one doing the striking. I know we get on the crush the serpent's head thing. I know we go there. At the end of it, family, there has to be a separation away from those who mean to do you harm. Family, in your own families, when something going sideways in that family. We talking sexual abuse. We talking just mental abuse. We talk physical abuse. In order for you to find the healing, you ain't going to get it staying close to grandmama and grandpapa. Lord help us. See, again, the statement is love them across the street. We know you got love for folks even though they hurt you. Come on now. It's your family. Twisted and broken by pain they have gone through in life, but that's still your family. This speaks to a lot of this mess that went on in Chicago. I had talked about it on the TikTok Live, dealing with this brother who lost his life on a Facebook Live in Chicago, 11 minutes into his live. How sick. 2 million, not 2,000. Wish it was 2,000. And less than that. 2 million views watching death online, family. We have become addicted to death and destruction. That will not get us the opposite result, y'all. That's just going to get you more death and destruction. Your Bible says the wages of sin, missing it is what sin means, is death, missing the mark. You have missed the mark, y'all. Family, it's hard to kick against the goads is another one of these things that's told us. The goads being these things in life that keep us in a certain, it's the boundaries. It's hard to kick against these boundaries, family. And one of them is constantly putting down your transgender brother and sister. You're going to have to let that alone. If you don't like putting on a dress, and you don't like wearing your hair a certain way, and you don't like putting on makeup as a man, that does not mean you go knock down and hurt your other brother, or again, they call themselves female, is what it is now. Who are we to judge? Who are we to judge, especially to the point of hurting and killing people? That's not the point, right? Or is it? To which we say separation. This is why we bring up this whole thing about the serpent and Eve. It is highly necessary that separation start occurring, family. You got to stay away from folks like that because they mean you nothing but harm. Right? And if you're talking about dressing and keeping the planet like we have spoken on this podcast, then at the end of it all, family, in order to do that, you might have to come about that garden to do it. You may have to leave your family and find the sources and the river of healing. Whether it be through therapy, whether it be through exercise, whether it be through speaking words of life and healing over yourself, whatever it is, you got to get around the places of healing to get whole from the thing that made you unwhole, not by staying with the thing that made you unwhole. That don't mean you got hate for your family. That means you're trying to have love for yourself. There's a difference. Right? And as a family member, if you love that family member, you will support them in that. And unfortunately, we are a family of dark skin tone folks down here, brown and tan. And for some odd reason, we are not okay with us separating to life for ourselves. We got to keep downing the other people group over here, many of whom may have come from Africa. That does not mean all of them did. And now you got to make fun of them. But you know, this is the same thing happened in the 1800s. This same brother has been online recorded. And I was even part of a couple of conversations, not with him. If ever y'all are looking, just, you want to reference this. I believe brother's name is, let me just look this up real quick. Frank Zanu. Brother, if I'm mispronouncing your name, my apologies. I do not mean to do that on purpose. Frank Zanu. Franckkzanu. And again, like the unfortunate trope of people making fun of African people, like the only language they have is a clicking sound, this type of mess is not the case. Right? But again, the same discredit in this brother here talking about black folks got no culture. You said it wrong, brother. We left our culture following after the white man. There's a difference. Let's get into that for a second. Speaking from the book, The Miseducation of the Negro. And again, we're talking about the Negro's miseducation, not their education. And matter of fact, we're going to start here off in chapter 7 because we want to say a thing that's going to set up to the back half of this. Because again, as a Christian, certain things need to be said. And as a Christian, I'm going to say them. And we're going to say them boldly. because we are done watching what we're watching, family. Right? Let's put this on the table here first before we get into this topic. Talking about culture. Did you know that the gun used by Mr. George Zimmerman to shoot Trayvon Martin sold for $250,000 back in May 2016? Did y'all know that? Somebody bought the gun that killed innocent black life. Shocking for me to find that out. This brother brings up the word value system. I don't want to replay the video just because we already played it, just for, because we could do that as a breakdown if I wanted to, but we're not. Value system is dealing with the things that are personal or societal collection of beliefs, principles, and ideals that are important, meaningful to guide the decisions, actions, and behavior of that person or society, right? So the way we break it down on this podcast is by saying, what do you believe? Right? Because again, belief, thought from belief, or belief from thought, whichever way you want to look at it. In your Bible, it says that as a person, now I know it says man, but we know men ain't the only people down here. So as a man or as a person thinks in their heart, so will they do. So are they. Because we are the sum total of what we do, family. That's the thing. As much as we are ourselves, we also tell what we do. In sports, the way it's said is that your record tells you who you are. Right? If you were an 0-16 team, you weren't that 0-16. This is why we don't let the excuses go and the defense is in your mind in this episode, and it will help you understand not only what I'm talking about, life in general. We need to stop making excuses for massa. We have made too many. They do not need our excuses, right? They definitely don't. They are able to hurt us just the same. For this African brother sitting here talking to a Haitian sister, and berating her a little bit. Okay. Again, all this mess. In talking on a deal, I'm listening to brothers talk to black women about submitting to them, y'all. Somebody put up the panel, black sister, and it's cool. I'm cool with it, right? Bringing information and conversation is the part where we need. This is the part we avoid, because we keep saying what we can't talk about. See, we can't talk about Bruno. And unfortunately, our elders and our ancestors passed this mess down. There's certain things you ain't supposed to talk about. No, damn it. If you want to have life and life more abundantly, you better start talking about it. So when it comes to belief, have an open heart and start talking about it. When it comes to money and finances, all of it from $0 to $1 million. We'll just leave it at that range. I'm not even going to go to billion. We need to talk about it. When it comes to again, savings accounts, all these things. Don't talk to me about the other half making over 100,000. Talk to me about the half that's not making it. Because when you study online about how many people are making money, the percentages are broken up little by little between each group. But when you add them together, half of them are under 100K or right at 100K. The other half is over. It's sad that we are chasing the half that's over and not the half under. Superior, family. Do you know what that word means? Superior. Because this is unfortunately, right? This is what we base life on. There is one above, which is the maker, right? Shout out the Christian community one time, right? This would also be our Jewish brothers and sisters, right? Our Muslim brothers and sisters, right? As today is September 11th, and I would be remiss, highly remiss, to not shout out New York, where I'm from. That had to, no different than Oklahoma as far as their bombing in that children's hospital happened. I believe hospital or museum. My apologies. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, right? People got death on the mind. Destruction on the mind. That's a problem. To rob a phrase from different part of the nation, that dog won't hunt. Right? Another thing that is part of African American, if you want to use that term, Black American culture. Our Southern roots. It's part of our culture. And the value systems, the beliefs, the customs that we built under oppression. How dare this brother? How dare this brother talk down his own brothers and sisters? But black leaders back in the day, studiers of us, our own people, back in the day already told us the game. We don't want to listen. You know, talking about education, which is one of the people activity areas that Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. told us about. One of them being education. You definitely will not find this book from Carter G. Woodson in your reading criteria. You won't find, and it won't be in your curriculum, criteria, or whichever other C or other lettered word you want to use for education. You won't find it. We didn't forget. We're going to read some of it to y'all. It's going to be very eye-opening. Superior of high standard or quality. The black man and woman. Again, we already have established that the white one is. So as I'm saying these people groups, please do not get in your feelings, because there's already one that's already they're supposedly up there. Meanwhile, they kick down their own people, but that's besides the point, right? We're talking about the group that thinks they're with the blonde hair, the blue eyes. You think you're okay. The black, brown, tan skin tone people groups are in the same high standard with you. For those for those whose butt cheeks clenched as soon as I said that, I don't know what to tell y'all. But you're lied to by your grandpappy and your grandmama, and then before them, all the griggity greats, when they told you that the so-called Negro is under you. That was wrong. They're on your same level. They have accomplished feats, just like you have, without doing the conquering of other lands, by the way. High standard or quality, great, well, they say greater in size or power. Again, when we talk about this majority mess, which again is something created and made up, it is not real. When you're talking about running this land and whatever else subscribes to this weird way of thinking, when you talk about brown, tan, dark skin tone folks, we are great in size and power. But we don't use it because we stay fiddle to those who told us we were not. We they fiddle that they playing a good song on. But we are not. Right? Above yielding to or being influenced by. Yet, in your body, see again, we use the scriptures here, family, to be mean to each other, instead of using them to set us free. Brethren, if a person be overtaken in a fault, reading from Galatians 6, the King James Version, you which are spiritual. We have gone over this before, but again, repetition is necessary for learning. You who are spiritual, and it seems in the church, we do not have enough people who are spiritual, because if we did, the next part of this verse would be much easier than what you see, but it's not, because we are not there. The folks in leadership are okay paying tribute and homage to Nero, Herod, Nebuchadnezzar, whichever king you want to use, whichever part of the Bible you want to use. We are okay paying tribute to Napoleon, presidents, dignitaries, instead of the one who created this. We get caught up in this crap. And as a result, we do dishonor to the name of the Lord, not honor. You which are spiritual, restore such a one again, if you're overtaken in the fault. So if you don't know who you are, if you've lost your way in your culture, The church is part of the black America, Christianity, not the mess Massa gave you. We talking about that which promotes love, freedom, justice, equality, the bedrock of black culture. The reason the Negro Leagues were made, because we belong in the same equal footing as the so-called white man. The reason black preachers in Canada made hockey for black folks who are then told then and now they can't skate. Shout out to PK Subban and the gang who showed them different. No, you don't learn nothing. You're going to recess. When you learn something, then it comes to the surface. This goes for dancers, beyond hip hop and stuff like that. I'm talking ballet. We talking about what you can do, we can do. That's it, family. This mess of talking superior and inferior has been a bunch of crap. That's the best way of saying it. Or maybe the least colorful way of saying it. I'll say it that way. You with your spiritual restore such a one in the spirit of meekness. But when you look up meekness, that word deals with putting yourself in that person's place. Submission. Kind of like what y'all talk about what that woman's supposed to do. But yet, excuse me. But. There is something, unfortunately, where we miss it. Because in Ephesians 6, we can talk about the children obeying their parents in the Lord. But when you come down to verse 4, we don't know nothing about fathers. Provoke not your children to wrath. I was watching a little House on the Prairie episode with my wife. Shout out to you, honey. Right. And in it, a father, or actually adoptive father, shout out to the stepdads one time, right? Had an adoptive son. Okay. Or father, however you want to look at yourself, right? Is what it is. Who's addicted to morphine. And everything he kept saying is just, I just don't understand. I don't understand. God help somebody to understand today that they may understand their children at home. I don't understand. Who taught you to forget yourself? See, Malcolm X said, who taught you to hate yourself? Who? I'm saying it today. Who taught you to forget yourself? So easy to forget where you come from. How dare you? Lost as a young person. By grace, you found your way to being an adult, whether man or woman. Now you're going to turn around, have that baby, and you don't know where they came from. You forgot where you came from. You don't understand them. How dare you? Well, no, KJ, you don't understand, man. It's real hard. And what this kid put me through. And see, we come up with too many excuses. Do you know what that boy's penalty was for this parent? We talk and do, right? Michael Landon. For anybody who's ever watched Little House on the Prairie, you know what we're talking about, right? Charles in the show. Do you know what that boy's penalty was? A parent who could not be there for them in their weakness. Yet your Bible tells you that if you're spiritual, you can help restore them in the spirit of meekness. But you don't put yourself in their place. You forgot what it was like when you were weak in a different area. Same weakness, same iniquity, no different. And that's why we can fall for stuff like this dude here talking this mess about what black culture ain't. Twerking? You want to talk about twerking, bro? Twerking is an honor tradition in Africa. Wait. So for the same person talking this stuff about his own brothers and sisters now makes fun of a dance, don't give me this what it is now. It's the same, it looks different, same dance. You know, unfortunately, men are so broken sexually, they cannot stare at a woman being sexual without going totally hog wild. Come on, somebody. So much so that you put on it, no different than in the fall of man. It's the woman you gave me, Lord. No. Ain't that woman's fault. What are you doing with it? What you doing with it? We quick to judge too much. We're quick to judge too much. Right? Provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Right? We're good to quote Ephesians 5 that tells the serpent to be obedient to masters. These are some of the verses that, you know, while Donald Trump's sitting there talking about what's in a library, in a museum, and how it depicts the white man in the wrong light and all this. So we got Julia Michaels defending him and all this kinds of garbage, right? You know, these are verses like this that were kept in the slave Bible, that's kept in museums. He ain't got nothing to say about that, though. He won't. You can't. The point is to preserve this mess that was created, not tear it down. And they used a Christian to do it. Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling and singleness of your heart unto Christ. Not with eye service as men pleasers, but as servants of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart, with good will doing service as to the Lord and not to man. Knowing that whatever good thing any person does, he shall receive the same of the Lord, whether he be bond or free. See, that's cool. We can say that. But verse 9, we got a little bit of a problem with. You masters, you masses, do the same things unto them. And this is why the job market is screwed as it is today. But the Christian won't stand up, talk none of it. Whoa. Drop the rocks, right? Again, we already stoned Stephen with them. Can we stop stoning folks with these same rocks today? At the end of the day, we are okay making sure Massa stays on the top because you listened to Massa instead of the master. Telling the masters to do the same things unto them. What are those same things, KJ? Reread verse 5 the opposite way and put masters where the servants are. Smag, my God in heaven. See, I'm done on the mess, y'all. Masters, be obedient unto them that are your servants according to the flesh. Whew, Jesus. With fear and trembling and singleness of your heart unto Christ. Hypocrisy of the highest. You want to talk about Jezebel in the church, deals with sexual sins. Not with eye service as men pleasers. We know masters doing this just to look better in the sight of their other master buddies. So they just got to whip you a little bit harder. But as the servants of Christ, again, who is the greatest amongst you must serve, is what Christ said. Doing the will of God from the heart. With good will, doing service as to the Lord, not unto men. You chasing that bag, that's for men. This brother sitting here talking this mess to another Haitian woman, that's for man pleasing. That's not unto the maker. Knowing that whatever good thing any man does, the same shall they receive of the Lord, whether they be bond or free. That's what that's the same things the master should be doing in verse 9. Now it goes on, it doubles down on the thought, forbearing, threatening. Knowing that your master also is in heaven, neither is there respect of persons with him. I gotta put this in there. It's been a minute since we said it, but we talking to half brother James. Christians fronting today, family, and you're going to have to call it for what it is. My brethren, have not. You're going to have Marvin Sapp sit up asking for $40,000 for the Pentecostal assemblies worldwide and in such gross fashion. And then you go up on the Ricky Smiley show and tell why you explain your cause in a Burberry shirt, bro. Y'all rewatch the episode on the Ricky Smiley show when Marvin Sapp, this man sitting here like that. Come on now. My brethren, have not the faith of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Lord of glory, with respect of persons. For if there come unto your assembly a man with a gold ring in goodly apparel, and there come in also a poor man in vile raiment, and ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing. Again, we know this is old school English. Gay is happy, right? That's not homosexual. That's happy. We understand if our homosexual brothers and sisters want to say it that way, so be it. Again, the word gay mean happy, right? And maybe they're happy the way they are, which is why we should leave them alone. But I digress. Wearing the gay clothing, say unto him, thou sit here in a good place, and say to the poor, thou stand there, or sit under my footstool. Are you not then partial in yourselves and become judges of evil thoughts? The half-brother of Jesus asking us questions. We ain't gonna go on for the rest of the chapter, man. We're gonna let y'all read it. We'll let y'all read it on your own. So while this man is talking all this garbage, right? He talking all this garbage, and I know I've gone on long. It's gonna go on for a minute, family. We getting there. The plane is in the mid altitudes. We coming down, right? We're about 40 some odd minutes in. While this man is talking all of this trash about what our brothers and sisters doing over here in the States. This, as of 18 years ago, where he is from in Benin, I believe, was going on in Benin.
Overlooking the Atlantic Ocean in Benin, a majestic arch marks the point of no return, where through the centuries millions of slaves waited in chains to be shipped to America. But now a modern-day form of slavery has gripped the West African nation again.
I just felt really burdened by the fact that children are being taken into slavery.
Carmen Morris is a Florida businesswoman who's on her third visit to Benin. She's on a personal mission to help end the human trafficking and is building a sanctuary for those children, some as young as 5, who have been rescued by local police from their lives as what she calls slave laborers.
The first trip that we took, 160 children were rescued from child slavery.
According to UNICEF, the overall numbers are staggering. 1.2 million children are trafficked each year worldwide, 50,000 of them in Benin alone. Many are sold by their parents.
Poverty is a problem here in Benin, as it is in almost all of Africa, and it's poverty that's fueling the slave trade, forcing parents to either sell their children to traffickers on purpose or inadvertently.
Traffickers will often swoop on the poor remote villages offering money for the children or promising paying jobs in bigger cities like nearby Cotonou or Lagos, Nigeria.
I'm going to stop the video right there, family, because again, a lot of this is just hurtful, and it breaks my heart personally to hear, right? So, brother, before you come out your mouth saying about what the black men and women don't do, last I checked, Lift Every Voice and Sing is a black national anthem that we sing, right? That we have to fight in this nation to sing, because they don't want to hear none of that, right? Again, another one of these parts of the tradition has been fighting oppression. Not something that we put upon ourselves, but something that we have excelled in as a result in spite of, right? We are not going to go over the inventions, the small amount of inventions that they taught us about in school, whether it be the cotton gin, so on and so forth. right? We could talk about the elevator door. We could talk about the traffic light. We could talk about the microphone. We could talk about the refrigerated truck, the process by which certain companies that ship you groceries have refrigerated. But you know what? Each one of these things that we continue to talk about, the black man and woman does not benefit from nor have wealth to pass down to their families, not because they're bad at spending. We still spending trillions of dollars today, from what they telling us. The problem has been in the restricting of movement of the Negro. Whether it's been however many people, we talking the black and slave codes now, family. That's encoded. That was law. So while everybody sits here and talk that law mess, they got laws making sure your black brother and sister stay at the bottom. That the brown and tan skin tone ones stay at the bottom. Which, while we talk about September 11th and the horror that was, and the pain and the therapy and everything that people have had to go through in New York, or as it said, not New York, it used to be called New Amsterdam. See, there's layers to this, family. Again, a group, a landmass named by groups of people, right? Algonquin, Iroquois. Come on, family. People groups living on these lands. We make way for mess to happen to us down the road. And it's still wrong because innocent lives are exchanged in this sick mess we play in. No different than you see in the TV show Andor. Innocent people dying on Gorman in that second season of Andor. If y'all ain't seen it, go watch episode. Just watch episode 8. You ain't gotta. If you ain't a Star Wars fan, you ain't gotta go through the whole thing. Just watch episode 8, and you watch the Empire kill innocent people, standing up for. That's part of black culture. That's part of our black tradition, standing up for ourselves when no one else came calling. So much so today that we have an unfortunate attitude toward the other people groups that we should not. Understand that a lot of deception on top of people's own decisions is what was behind all that mess, why we don't come together. This is all what Moana 2 is talking about, y'all. You hear me reference a lot of movies because it's the thought behind them. They know what they're doing. Hollywood knows. You know who don't? The dark brown and tan skin tone people don't. Again, like in the movie Encanto, clearly we don't talk about Bruno and we need to. This is why it's very easy for us to shut out our brothers and sisters that are of other nations. That are of other nations, but when we get married to them, these interracial, intercultural marriages. That's why we're quick to do that. The top of the list is definitely the so-called white person, and we understand why. They ain't the only group. We hold our Asian brothers and sisters accountable. We hold our Arabian brothers and sisters accountable. We look weirdly at our Samoan and island brothers and sisters. We do. Hawaiian and Samoan, all that. We do. We got to drop that mess now. We are one. We're all we got. And we keep playing this game, and it leads to nothing but division, destruction, and death. This man wanted to sit here and talk about what civil rights. They gave it to us. No, Fannie Lou Hamer lost an eye and got beat up in jail trying to stand up for the civil right to vote. And vote in this sick system, by the way. But still to stand up and vote in it just the same. They conspired and killed. And when you say conspiracy, again, secret brought out in open. They planned and plotted, just like the same thing with Judas with Jesus. When you say in secret, it came out in the open. They planned and plotted to kill Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and they did it. They planned, plotted, and killed Malcolm X, and they did it. They planned to do it to Fred Hampton. They did it. They planned to do it to, since this brother wants to sit here and talk about what's going on over here in the States. Again, they took the show on the road. The Berlin Conference was made back in the 1800s to take over Africa, and they did it. The Nazi conferences in the 1930s that were held in New York in Madison Square Garden. right? Where I got the chance to see John Cena come back during the Royal Rumble in 2008 when it should have been Triple H winning it. But I digress. They held that the U.S. was a quote unquote impartial party at a Nazi conference in New York, y'all. This is no different than Herod signing off on Christ's death, trying to wash his hands. You can't wash this off your hands. Nor can you kill enough people. And this is where we're going to get into this segue now, while we come to the close. There is not enough people you can kill to wash this horrible blood stain off your hands. The only way, family, the only way is by walking in love with each other. Nobody said you don't defend yourself against those meaning to execute you. I said killing each other. Ain't gonna do it. No matter who it is, no matter what they're saying. We stand on this. We talked about this before President Trump was elected. And we stand on it now with Charlie Kirk. That act was wrong. Yes, the man talks mess against black folks. Talked mess, I should say, against black folks. Yes, he has talked a whole lot of mess against the LGBTQ plus community. Yes, he has stood in the way of freedom for people groups to be able to be on equal footing with everyone else. But that does not mean we go and kill him. And you got to understand, in most of these scenarios, it's the same thing with this Antifa mess with Black Lives Matter. This happens a lot in history. Whenever there is a stand up for righteousness, somebody come in with something to derail the thing. And then what causes is more violence. That's how you know something foul and funky is afoot. We have listened to stuff from Ku Klux Klan members that believe a race war should occur. We are telling you from history, not a damn thing was done by that civil war. The only thing that continued was exactly what's in the word war, which is confusion. More confusion was spread. The idea was to make money off the backs of somebody else. They felt the pinch of it. They went to battle over it. That's it. The result don't change. So if you have another war based on the same criteria, this is where insanity comes in, y'all. People groups are meant to live down here together. Wait. Say it again. People groups are meant to live down here together. They do not because they choose not to. And as a result, see, we didn't make the game here. You know, we're coming up on Halloween season, and this is something we had talked about like year one of the podcast. We'll reiterate some of it. Again, the spirit world we know very little of. This is why we talked about the 12 laws of, and we'll probably talk about that during October, the 12 universal laws. Y'all can look that up, little preview for where we're going with it. You get nothing, family, by doing the same mess over and over again. It's not going to, banding together in your communities, legal and financial backing is what's going to do it. It's what did it for Labor Day that we just had passed. It's what did it for civil rights. Since his brother wanted to talk this mess that just passed, that, you know, that he's just talking about in his video, it just passed like a couple weeks or so ago. Brother want to talk about traditions. Traditions, science, and invention is our tradition. Huh? We've been building and encourage each other to build, and just to get away from massa, down to the hairstyles, family. We have talked about it before. Them cornrows, them braids in the hair. Since he talking to a Haitian sister, those on the islands trying to get away from massa over there, like the French. You know, the same French that had colony packs over in Africa while his brother talking about what all this mess. You're just as divided over there. We need to stop. Do you know why black folks now don't live in Africa when we tried to go over there in the 1800s? When they called us Americos, not African Americans, Americos. That's something you can look up. The way they say it is Americo-Liberian. That's what it looks like when you type in what did Africans call black Americans who moved to Africa in the 1800s? That's what you Google. Again, education is the miseducation. We'll let Snoopy play here in the background for a second. Sorry about that. Since we know, talking about Turning Point and using the church and everything that Charlie Kirk stood for here, some things in the miseducation of the Negro, because we said we were going to read from that. So before we close here, we're going to read from that. Chapter 7. It's called Dissension and Weakness. Right. Again, this is from The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter Godwin, Carter G. Woodson. Right. Considered the father of Black history. And oh, how true this is, man, because he got us to a T. In recent years, the churches in enlightened centers have devoted less attention to dissension than formerly, but in the rural districts and small cities, they have not changed much. Neither in urban communities nor in the country has anyone succeeded in bringing these churches together to work for their general welfare. The militant sects are still fighting one another, and in addition to this, the members of these sects are contending among themselves. Yet in Titus, he doesn't say this, I just added that in. In Titus, y'all, do you know what it tells you? Let's just see. Yeah. Verse 9. Avoid foolish questions, genealogies, contentions, and strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain. Yeah, for some odd reason, we still sitting here. You know, we got into this whole thing. I've been in this talk about baptism and whether or not it's a thing you do, just like as an act, you know, again, just to boil it down, not making fun of anything. So y'all, please, again, put your rocks down. The dunking in the water, just that act, or as an everyday thing of you just living like salvation and baptism are synonymous, like it's the life you live going forward from you accepting Christ as Savior, so on and so forth. We get into arguments over that. Huh? Again, he said the militant sects, because that's how y'all look. Militant sects are still fighting one another, and in addition to this, the members of these sects are contending among themselves. So we're just told to avoid contentions, right? Okay. The Spirit of Christ cannot dwell in such an atmosphere. This man wrote this back in the 1920s, 1930s. And we can go on to the rest of this thing because it gets interesting, but we're not going to. Right? We're not for time's sake, we're not doing that. Because we've already taken up enough time for an hour here talking. So, we're gonna let y'all go about, back to your dinner or wherever you're going, right? Wherever you're going, whatever you're doing. So on and so forth. Let's see if we can get to the top here of this. Because he says, again, he goes on to say some things that are very, very impactful here. Okay. Let's see if we can find one. It might be right at the beginning of chapter 1. I mean, the whole book is highly, highly impactful. I would highly suggest people go read this thing, man. Let's see. That's the foreword. That's the intro, man. I mean, with this thing is set up pretty good. The you can find the PDF of it online. So if you didn't want to get the book, I think this book should be in everybody's library, but that's besides the point. The educated. This is chapter 1, the seed of the trouble. See, again, maybe we shouldn't sit in the seat of the scornful. That's where trouble is. I digress. The educated Negroes have the attitude of contempt toward their own people. because in their own as well as in their mixed schools, Negroes are taught to admire the Hebrew, the Greek, the Latin, the Teuton. This deals with like Prussian people and certain European folks, and to despise the African. We know that. Of hundreds of Negro schools recently examined by an expert in the United States Bureau of Education. Same like department that Donald Trump says we don't need no money for, right? That we sit here and argue it out like a pack of dogs. Listen, this is not please drop the rocks. We're letting you know how we look out here, family. We're not saying y'all are or we are dogs. Okay? Sheesh. only 18 offer, hundreds of schools, hundreds of Negro high schools. Only 18 offer a course taking up the history of the Negro. And in most of the Negro colleges and universities where the Negro is thought of, the race is studied only as a problem or dismissed as of little consequence. For example, an officer of a Negro university thinking that an additional course on the Negro should be given there, called upon a Negro doctor of philosophy of the faculty to offer such work. He promptly informed the officer that he knew nothing about the Negro. So you in a black school for black folks, a black doctor of philosophy. Look up the word philosophy. What it means, its etymology, all that. He knew nothing about Negroes. Nothing. Not even little. This brother here from Africa wouldn't have said nothing he said if he knew something about it. Or if he does and he's being divisive in his stuff and he was caring about his people, he wouldn't have said none of it. Right? He did not go to school to waste. This is what he said now. He did not go to school to waste his time that way. He went to be educated in a system that dismisses the Negro as a non-entity. Again, we are superior, like everyone else is superior, because we are equal. And that is one of black people's value systems. Dancing, loving life, defending the defenseless, helping the poor, not hurting them. This is part of black value systems, fighting oppression. Not supporting oppression is one of our taboos. We don't do that. Messing with the children, whether by abuse, all of that, that's a taboo. We don't do that. Clearly, the jumping over the broom thing. And I don't want to say thing, we want to call it a tradition. We'll say it right. It's an honor tradition amongst black culture. Something that should be incorporated in any marriage, depending on how they want to celebrate their marriage. Because it means something in black culture. Right? The black home, community, these are part of the black value system. Them barbecues, the cookout that we keep talking about, who we inviting and not inviting to, that means something. At the very least, it deals with the solidarity that we have to now band together when they stopped us from banding together. No wonder people is calling the cops during our barbecues, huh? Oh, yeah, family. No, we don't condone unnecessary death. And family, Charlie Kirk did not have to die. Donald Trump don't need to get shot. Anybody who thinks like these people, that ain't it. We talking about coming up on separating from that mess. allowing us to live in, as Moses told the Pharaoh, allow the people to go so they can worship God and make sacrifices in the desert. That's told in peace. They don't want no fight with the Egyptians. Do you know who brought the fight? The Egyptians. And that's where we're going to put the stop, family. That's where we're going to put the stop today. Thank you for walking this road with me. I have gone on longer than I needed to. Again, we will repost this. Facebook, Apple, Pandora, YouTube. We will do a separate one on TikTok as well. I might put the little link here to this podcast on TikTok, but we're going to do a separate one on TikTok. Similar subjects, but talking about TikTok's new guidelines. Because again, this is the man got to give themselves an out. And family, this is time for us to be aware and for us to mobilize together to protect each other, not to go hurting folks. We do not operate in the energy by which they operated with us with. Don't do it. It only leads to harm, because the wages of sin is death, family. So that's where we're going to stop. We choose life over here, right? Hey, we choose life over here, family. Thank you for walking this road with me. And as always, and until next time, look to find the beauty in a different view.